Hello. Today for our song tale, I'm going to be reading the book and singing There's a Hole in the Bucket. And this song is a circle song, which means there's no end. It would just keep going. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole. Then fix it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. Then fix it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, fix it. With what shall I fix it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fix it, dear Liza? With what? With straw, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. With straw, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, with straw. But the straw is too long, dear Liza, dear Liza. The straw is too long, dear Liza, too long. Then cut it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. Then cut it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, cut it. With what shall I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I cut it, dear Liza? With what? With a knife, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. With a knife, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, a knife. But the knife is too dull, dear Liza, dear Liza. The knife is too dull, dear Liza, too dull. Then sharpen it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. Then sharpen it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza? With what? With a stone, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. With a stone, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, a stone. But the stone is too dry, dear Liza, dear Liza. The stone is too dry, dear Liza, too dry. Then wet it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. Then wet it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, wet it. With what shall I wet it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I wet it, dear Liza? With what? With water, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. With water, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, with water. In what shall I get it, dear Liza, dear Liza? In what shall I get it, dear Liza? In what? In the bucket, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. In the bucket, dear Georgie, dear Georgie, the bucket. But there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole.